Hey Cardinals fans, and welcome to this week's edition of Cardinal Game Day, your home for UIW football reviews, news, and pregame. My name is Chris Reyes.
And I'm Rory. Well, Chris, it was another rough week for the Cardinals, this time on the road in Nacogdoches.
Another loss is not ideal, but we are seeing flashes of brilliance in the Cardinals team. Offensively, Casey Jennings was a standout again.
Yeah, Casey Jennings had 5 receptions for 122 yards with a 52-yard long, and he's currently sitting at 63 receptions for 905 yards on his career. So I think we're in a pretty good position to possibly see him break the 1,000-yard mark, hopefully this week.
Yeah, also, so Jamar Gilbert bringing the spark plugs on the kick return team. He had 4 kick returns for 122 yards, and he really did set up the Cardinals in great field position.
Yeah, special teams is one of the integral parts of the game, and it's something that the Cardinals, if they can continue very well in the special teams, will hopefully be a little bit more competitive moving forward. And a key to that is Ramon Cotto Jr., the kicker for the team. He scored again this week. It was the only score we had. It was a 47-yard field goal. Now, that puts him at a point where in Cardinal football history, there have been 5 field goals 45 yards or longer. Ramon Cotto has kicked 3 of them, and he's only played 2 games. So, big news on special teams, but then defensively, Corey Lee, he continued to build on his first game, and he looks set to put up some very impressive totals for the season at this rate. Exactly.
He had 1 sack on the game and 3 on the season. So he is really getting to the backfield early and really disrupting that quarterback's rhythm.
Yeah, he's doing a really good job in chasing down the quarterback and trying to shut down some of the passing game. But another player on the defense who's doing really well at the moment is Brandon Tanksley. He went out injured in the first game, which is a little bit of a shame, but he came back against SFA in Nacogdoches and he made 11 tackles, which was 1 shy of his career high of 12 in a game. And he's currently sitting on 99 career tackles total, so I would assume that we're probably going to see the 100 tackle milestone broken this week as well.
The SFA Lumberjacks had a pretty good game, led by running back Gus Johnson. Gus Johnson had 252 yards on the rush and 270 all-purpose yards, so he really did cut through that Cardinals defense.
Yeah, I remember watching back on the film, all you could see was Gus Johnson in the running game just pounding away at it. And the Cardinals did an okay job of shutting it down early, but as the game wore on, the defense spent longer and longer on the field. Gus Johnson was putting up more and more yards. And as we saw, we were pretty competitive with SFA until halfway through the third quarter. The score was 14-3. Obviously, the game being broken up by the weather delays wasn't a great outcome for us. But yeah, it was 14-3, and then we conceded 24 points in the last quarter and a bit, which wasn't a great situation. But it just goes to show when the defense spends a lot of time on the park, they're going to get really tired. And a solid running back like Gus Johnson, who I believe has the most touchdowns in SFA history, if you're going against a play like that and you have a tired defense, it's just going to spell disaster. And it was unfortunate the Cardinals were unable to sustain their competitive start. And they're really, really going to need to be more consistent, particularly on offense, to compete with North Dakota State University this weekend.
Exactly. The 3-time national defending champs, 26 games undefeated. The Cardinals really do have it against them on the road this upcoming game.
Yeah, and one of those 26 games that we need to mention is Iowa State. They played them in week 1, and NDSU beat them 34-14. Now, NDSU, obviously, the premier team in Division I AA. You can't really argue with 3 consecutive national championships, but I mean, they put down a pretty good Division 1A team in Iowa State, so they're a very, very solid team. Offensively, they have this one running back by the name of John Crockett, who averages 129 yards rushing a game, which is a very solid number. That's a single running back. That's not like a rushing total for the team. And in the 2 games they've played, he's already scored 4 touchdowns this season. So offensively, in particular, they're going to be very formidable. That being said, Chris, what do you see as keys to the game?
Well, I see the keys for this week's game are going to come on the defensive side of the ball. The Cardinals' defense is really going to have to be able to, when they're on the field, they're going to have to get it to this quarterback and wrap him up early on. He's going to want to hand the ball off to Crockett. If you can disrupt the ball in the backfield, you can get to Crockett and really shut down this North Dakota State offense. Put him behind the sticks, 3rd and long, 3rd and 14, 15. You can have an opportunity to bring some pressure. And when you can bring that pressure to the quarterback, and you can really get in that backfield, you sack him, Corey Lee could have an opportunity for a big game, and that's where I see the Cardinals being able to really secure this monumental upset on the road in North Dakota?
I'm going to stress the offense, as I seem to do every week. Our running game has really got to step up. They were the strength and the cornerstone of our offense last year. We averaged 182 yards per game and 4.5 yards a carry. This season, 70 yards a game, 2.2 yards a carry. So we're not even half as productive as we were last year, and that's a major problem for us. Unless we can establish the run game and open up some passing, we're going to have a lot of problems, I think, in terms of not getting thrown off the park with a 3-and-out every time. We need to give our defense a rest, as we've seen, and we saw that all last season as well. Our defense is pretty good. It's just a matter of getting our offense to keep them off the park, give them a rest, and score some points, grind down the clock, all that sort of stuff. So I think offense is a big deal this week.
And don't forget that this week's game will be great exposure for the up-and-coming Cardinals. College Game Day will be their ESPN College Game Day.
Yeah, as you said, ESPN College Game Day returning to Fargo, North Dakota, and we will be one of the feature games this week. Co-feature, I suppose. And in a relatively short history of Cardinal football, having started, I believe our first game was in 2009, so this is our 5th season, we're co-main eventing ESPN College Game Day. That is really big news for the Cardinals.
Oh yes, and also, if you want to be more into the mood for the Cardinals game against NDSU, the #1 team in the FCS, make sure that Augie's Barbecue is hosting a watch party Saturday at 2:30. All you have to do is RSVP to UIW Athletics at uiwtx.edu. So it's going to be a good atmosphere in there. You're going to be able to go to the game and enjoy it for some fellow Cardinals. And maybe, just maybe when they pull that upset, the place will be going wild.
Well, I'm sure looking forward to it. Cardinal fans, that is all we have time for this week here on Cardinal Game Day. Be sure to check in next week when we break down the North Dakota State University game and look forward to the upcoming game at Abilene against the Wildcats. My name is Rory.
And I'm Chris Reyes. Thanks for tuning in. Let's go Cardinals.